They've always made jokes. You two are basically married. At first it was funny. Harmless. Corwin would smirk, toss an arm around my shoulders and say something like, well, if Salem cooked better, maybe I'd consider it. Then we'd both laugh and the room would move on. But lately it's been harder to laugh. Lately I can't tell where the joke ends and the truth begins. It's in the way I flinch when someone says it now. In the way Corwin looks at me afterward, like he's checking for a reaction but doesn't want to admit it. In the way I sit with this impossible thing growing in my chest like a bruise I keep pressing, just to feel it ache. I tell myself I'm being ridiculous. Corwin flirts with everyone. That's just who he is, charming, casual, annoyingly magnetic. He's kissed more girls in the last year than I've spoken to. And yet, when he leans too close to me during movie nights or ruffles my hair like I'm some adorable pet, my skin burns. Not that he notices. Not that he ever could. Because Corwin is straight. Painfully, obliviously, untouchably straight. And I am his safe space. His emotional support introvert. The guy he trusts with his messiest thoughts, his dumbest ideas, his worst hangovers. I'm the best friend. The dependable one. The one he's never looked at like that. But the jokes, they're like little fractures. Cracks in the wall I've spent years building. Every time someone says it, something shifts. Pause. A flicker of a thought that maybe, just maybe, I'm not the only one wondering what we are. Last night, his cousin made the comment again. We were playing cards, half drunk on cheap cider, and she grinned at us like she'd figured out a secret. Honestly, you two have more chemistry than my actual boyfriend. Corwin laughed. I didn't. He looked over at me, eyes searching. That true, Sale? You hiding a ring somewhere? I tried to play along. Shrugged. Please. I'd marry someone with taste. It was meant to be sarcastic like always. But it came out brittle, defensive. And something in his expression changed, just for a second. Then he laughed again, louder this time, and changed the subject. Just like that. But I haven't stopped thinking about it. About how the room suddenly felt too warm. About how my heart raced, not because I was nervous, but because some reckless part of me wanted to answer honestly. To say yes. I would. In a heartbeat. Now even silence feels like eggshells. I can't look at him without wondering what he sees. What he doesn't. And I hate that every joke they make sounds a little too close to something I desperately want but can never say out loud. Not to Corwin. Not if I want to keep him. Then on Easter night we had a dare. The kind of dare that only comes after too many glasses of wine and too little self-control. It was Easter night, and someone thought it would be hilarious to play truth or dare with grown adults. Corwin, naturally the loudest in the room, egging everyone on with that reckless grin of his. He'd already made two people kiss, one person call their ex, and another confess to stealing a cardigan from a mutual friend's flat. Then his eyes landed on me, lazy and warm like they always did when he was 3 drinks in and full of mischief. Your turn, Salem. Truth or dare? I should have said truth. I always say truth. But something about the way he was watching me, something sharp and almost challenging, made me say, dare. His smile widened, but it wasn't the usual teasing kind. This one was quieter. Calculated. I dare you, he said, to kiss me. Laughter erupted. Someone choked on their drink. Someone else said, you can't do that. But Corwin didn't flinch. He just sat there watching me like he'd already won. And I didn't stop him. Not that time. The room fell away. The laughter, the clinking glasses, the spinning dares, all of it muted under the weight of that look. He didn't look drunk. He looked certain. Like he knew what this would do to me. I leaned in, slowly, testing him. Waiting for the punchline. Waiting for him to laugh and say, relax, it's a joke. But he didn't. And so I kissed him. It was quick. Barely more than a breath. But it happened. And when I pulled back, my mouth dry and heart clawing at my ribs, he just stared at me. No smirk. No teasing. Just that look. I don't even remember what I said to make me bolt out of the house. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was fear. Or maybe it was the terrifying weight of finally tasting something I'd wanted for so long. The cool air slapped my face as I stepped outside. My heart was pounding so violently I thought it might tear itself out of my chest. Then I heard footsteps. Salem, wait. Corwin's voice softer than it should have been. He was drunk, stumbling a little, breathless, warm. The streetlights painted gold across his face, but it was his scent that reached me first. Cheap wine, sweat, soap, and something else. Something like home. I didn't mean to, he started, but he didn't finish. Neither of us knew how to finish that sentence. I turned to him just enough for our eyes to meet, and that was all it took. The next part? A blur. A door creaked open somewhere behind us. A hallway. A spare bedroom, maybe someone's guest room. It didn't matter. Nothing mattered except the fire between us. Clothes hit the floor like confessions we'd never said. His lips were warm, desperate. His hands trembled as they found mine, then steadied like they'd done it before, like they'd been waiting to do it forever. I didn't think. Not about what this meant. Not about tomorrow. I only thought about him, about how he touched me like he'd memorized every part of me in secret. We didn't speak. Not one word. But in that silence, everything screamed. It wasn't rough or clumsy. It was slow. Scary. Beautiful. I felt seen in a way I didn't know was possible. And for the first time in years I stopped feeling like I was too much. Or not enough. But morning was cruel. I woke before he did. His back was to me, the bedsheet tangled around his waist, the curve of his shoulder bathed in pale light. For a second I just watched him breathe. Hoping, praying that he wouldn't turn around and take it all back. When he finally did stir, the spell shattered. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. He wouldn't even meet my eyes. I sat up, the silence clawing into my skin. We were drunk, I whispered, hoping it would make it easier. Hoping he'd say something, anything, to soften the blow. But he said nothing. And I realized then that silence could shatter a soul louder than words ever could. I dressed slowly, my hands shaking more than I cared to admit. He didn't move. Just lay there like last night hadn't meant anything. But it had meant everything. To me. And maybe that was the problem. After that night, we both pretended to forget. He cracked louder jokes than usual, laughed just a little too hard, as if humor could erase the taste of my skin from his mouth. I stopped looking him in the eye when he reached for me, flinched when his hand brushed mine like it had never meant anything. Everything had changed. And nobody noticed, but us. We became actors in our own lives. His texts became shorter. My replies became delayed. Our silences grew teeth. Still we kept the rhythm going. Parties. Dinners. Inside jokes that used to feel warm but now tasted stale. Like rot hidden under fresh paint. Then it rained. For 3 days straight. The sky wept as if it had seen us. Really seen us, and couldn't bear the weight of it either. On the third night, just after midnight, I heard a knock. I opened the door and there he was. Corwin. Soaked through, shirt clinging to him like regret. Hair matted. Eyes red like he hadn't slept or had been crying, or both. The rain blurred the lines of his face, but I'd know that look anywhere. Lost. Afraid. Like he didn't know how to be brave anymore. He didn't wait for an invitation. He just stepped forward and stood under my porch light, dripping and silent, until he finally whispered, "I don't know what the hell that was." His voice cracked around the edges, but he still couldn't look at me. I stared at him for a long time. Then said quietly, steadily, "I do. You just don't want to." He closed his eyes, exhaling like the truth stung more than the lie ever could. There was a heartbeat of silence. Then another. And then, "I need space. Not I'm sorry. Not it meant something. Not I feel it too. Just space." I nodded. Okay. And I meant it, on the outside. What I didn't say was that it felt like he reached into my chest, found the part of me that still believed in us and tore it out. Quietly. Gently. Like he thought if he moved slow enough, it wouldn't hurt. But it did. He walked away before I could say anything more. Back into the rain. Back into the dark. And I didn't stop him even though my heart screamed after him with every step he took. I shut the door. Locked it. And leaned against it like it was the only thing holding me up. Because honestly it was. Months passed. And I dated someone else. Someone kind. Safe. The kind of person you're supposed to fall in love with. The kind who asks how your day was and listens, really listens. The kind who doesn't vanish when it rains. but I was still a graveyard of almost. I smiled at the right moments, kissed when I was supposed to, said I'm fine like it meant something. But every time I held his hand, I thought about how Corwin's used to tremble slightly, like he was afraid of what it meant to want me. Corwin said he was happy for me, told me I looked good, laughed at all the right jokes. But his eyes, they gave him away. Always. They'd find me across the room, whether I was mid-laugh or mid-lie. Like they were tethered to mine, and every glance burned with things we never said. Then came his sister's wedding. Everyone was drunk on celebration. Love buzzed in the air, syrupy and sweet. He wore navy blue and that crooked smile that had once undone me in seconds. I tried to stay on the opposite side of the reception hall, clinging to safety like it could protect me from the gravity of him. It couldn't. At some point, the music changed and he was in front of me holding out his hand like it was the most natural thing in the world. Dance with me? I hesitated. Just for a second. Then gave in. His touch was cautious at first, as if afraid I might flinch again. But I didn't. My fingers curled around his like they'd been waiting, starving. And he pulled me close. We swayed like no time had passed. Like the nights and the space and the silence had all been some shared fever dream. He smelled the same, warm, familiar, dangerous. And when he leaned in, our foreheads almost touched. Then he said it. Quiet. Steady. Unshakable. It was never a joke, he whispered. Not to me. Not that night. The words hit harder than they should have. Like a knife wrapped in velvet. I blinked because anything more than that would have turned into tears. Because part of me had waited months to hear it. And another part wanted to scream at him for saying it now, when someone else had picked up my broken pieces. But all I said was, "Then why did you run?" He didn't answer. The music kept playing but we didn't move. Just two people standing in the middle of a dance floor, drowning in all the things we almost said.